Good morning, folks. My name is Mark Desjardin, Operations Section Chief, ODF Team 2, here on the Ochoco Fire. Today is Monday, July 27th. Give you your morning operational briefing. We'll start out with contingency. So for map orientation, Sisters is here, like Billy Chinook is up here to the north. Contingency work was able to finish on the Wilt Road. They continued on Wilt Road here, down around, tied into Indian Ford. They finished most of the work on Indian Ford. They still have some logs to process that the feller bunchers thinned out. They'll get that all done. They got a hand crew working a sectional line that we couldn't get the heavy equipment into to get that contingency all tied in. Then they bounced around. They were able to put in a contingency line here to tighten this up where we were having our problems up in November. And then they're finishing the 11 road as well today. So we'll have hopefully contingency done here in a few days, but it's all going smoothly, working out really well. Working our way around the map up in Division Quebec. So Ochoco Butte is right here at drop point 40. Kind of west of drop point 40 is where we've been having the most work, most heat here up on Ochoco Butte. Working our way around. Everything's looking really good along here. We've got hose lays put in. We're starting to get deeper and deeper and mop up. So what that means is we're finding any heat that's along that line and we're getting it all extinguished and cleaned up, so that we have at least kind of 25 feet right now of hard black, hard line, so the fire has no heat within 25 feet of that fire's edge. Working our way through Tango, similar thing in here. We're looking good all the way down to 32. Kind of as we've been talking about, this little pocket here in and around the structures has really been our problem child, in the sense that we're having to use different tactics than we normally would to really address that, since there's structures in there, minimize the impact of those folks. We got some additional resources in today. 2 skidgens, in fact, were really kind of the biggest hang up we've had. It's not a great spot to put a hose lay, and Type 6 engines, tenders can't really get in there. The rocks are too big, and so those skidgens will be critical today getting in there. So that's just a skidder with a tank of water on the back. They can get over all those big rocks and get to the spots that the crews really need the water. Working our way south along Wilt Road here in Division Whiskey. We did have some heat yesterday. Only had one of them that was really close to the line. Helicopters came in, really helped us knock those 2 heat down, really make sure that this has been knocked down, and we have confidence that this isn't going to have any more spotting or slops like we've had the last few days with those winds. The winds are dying down a little bit. We're not quite in a red flag warning anymore, but as things are continuing to dry and dry and dry, those fuels are still receptive and becoming even more receptive here. So trying to make sure that no little sparks or embers have potential to cause any problems down in here. We moved the division break actually today, so we moved this for Division Yankee over to the Indian Ford Wilt Road intersection down here, and so they've just grabbed this chunk of dirt. It's a little more work to do here on the west side than kind of what we had. We've been making great progress here in Division Yankee with our hose lay, and it's flowing a lot of water, getting that mop up done. A little more into the structures here. It'll take a little bit of work off of Whiskey since he has most of the structures. But Yankee will get in there, get engaged, and really kind of deepen that and give us a more thick rind around this thing. Yesterday, you'll probably have seen some smoke. We had burnout operation. We put some dozer line in here, tied this off, and burned it off. It burned really well. The winds were totally in our favor. It was great. We have about 900 feet of depth. We're going to do a little bit more cleanup in here. There's some green pockets, green islands, and the reason for that is we don't want this thing in the middle of the summer. You know, we're going to put a good rind all the way around this stuff, but all the stuff in the middle is just too large to mop up everything in there. And we don't want later this summer, as things continue to dry, things to flare up, those green pockets to catch fire. They're well inside the fire perimeter, so it's not a threat to the line, but they would create a lot of smoke, and we don't want to create that kind of uncertainty or fear for the community if they see smoke popping up back in there. So we're going to try and address that now if we can get those things to burn in a good, clean way. So that's really the priority in November today, is getting that taken care of while we have this kind of calm weather, and it's doing what we're wanting in that environment. Thank you, and have a great day.
Good morning, Chief Chapman, Oregon State Fire Marshal's Red Team, with your daily briefing update. So, as the fire's winding down, our crews are working up here in Division Yankee, which is a landmarks where we divide the fire up. So we're working in Division Yankee up on Indian Ford Road, working around all the structures, making sure that we get mop up. So what that means is we're getting any hot spots around the structures, we're getting in there, we're mopping up. We're trying to get 200 feet to 300 feet around every structure and make sure that it's secure. We'll also be working down here in Division Whiskey, along Wilt Road, Blazer, Stephen Canyons Road. Again, around all those structures, making sure that we've got a good depth, which I mean by out 300 feet outside of the structure, plus digging down and making sure all those hot spots are out. We'll also be further up Wilt Road. This is drop point 28. We're going to be up near there, into Division Tango as well. We're going to be really spread out along here. Again, doing the same mission, getting mop up around all the structures, getting some depth, meaning 300 feet around all the structures. We'll also be down, especially down here in Wilt Road, where it's going to be really busy with all of our wildland partners coming in and out there. But we'll also be helping our wildland partners in all three of these divisions with water supply, helping them out, making sure that they've got water for hose lines. So they're going to be working on the fire line. We're going to be working around the structures. Also want to point out today, as people start integrating back into their community, we've got what we're calling Operation Eagle Flyer. And what that is we're handing out these flyers that explains, as you go back into your homes, what to do, who to call. So if you see a smoke, do you call 911? No, but you know who you call, what kind of smoke, is it smoke that's interior, stuff like that. Maybe you don't have power, maybe you don't have water, and on that flyer it tells you who to call, when to call, and who to contact. And if on the flyer there's a QR code, so if the question that you have isn't on that flyer, you can go to these QR codes and get more information from the county. That's the plan for today, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.